I just applied, was given a date to come, turned up 10 o'clock in the morning, and I prepared 2 pieces as instructed. And there were a large group of people there. I was totally intimidated. We all sort of gathered in some room, and then in turns we went down and did our 2 pieces. And then we went back to the room, and I was sitting in this room, totally convinced it was, a waste of time and a disaster. And there were some people there auditioning who had sort of, satin trouser suits on and had come with their agents, and then one woman was having her back massage. She brought her sort of masseuse or something, and I thought, I am totally out of my depth and out of my league. And then the phone rang in the room. We were all sort of held together, and the phone rang in the room, and I was nearest the phone, so I picked it up, and a voice on the other end said, "The following people. This is a list of the following people who I thought," they said, "should stay." So I read out this list as it was read to me. These names of some of us in the room. So I said to these people, "Okay, well, you're in," and so I put the phone down. I got my coat and picked up my bag and walked out of RADA and down Gower Street. And then John, who was a famous doorman at RADA, who was there for decades, a huge great burly guy, came running down Gower Street after me. He said, "Where do you think you're going?" So I said, "Well, I think I've been told to leave." He said, "No, you haven't. You've been told to stay." So I came back in, and it turns out I'd given completely the wrong information. The list of people was the list of people being told to stay rather than leave, or leave rather than stay. Anyway, so really thanks to John the doorman that I made it through to the second round that afternoon.
Yes, I still draw enormously on my training at RADA. I had a number of wonderful teachers there. Daily, tonight when I play, I'm sure at some point I will do many things that I was taught at RADA. One tends to come to these schools very raw, and the nice thing about Hugh and the time I was at RADA was that he didn't want you to lose your rawness. He just wanted to enable you to actually bring it in front of an audience in many different forms.
I played tennis, actually, it was my big sport, but I'd never ever dealt with the body as an emotional tool that could be used physically. So I was tall, thin and gawky with a sort of stoop, because I thought that was sort of Virginia Woolfish, in fact. So I very quickly RADA tried to get rid of that stoop and to make you think with your body, which I think has been one of the most fundamentally enhancing things of my whole life, because it makes life better as well as art. It really was marvellous.
You're fit enough or agile enough to learn a song in 2 days, or for example do green screen on a big film, which is, as an actor you're having to stand in a studio with the pressure of producers behind a curtain like the Wizard of Oz, with all the money going, he better be good, and all that keeps you safe is your imagination. For me, in the certain films that I've done, I'm having to imagine a whole spectacle of visual effects which are going to be supplied in post-production, and I'm happy to the performance becomes no different from an improvisation class with Jeremy Stockwell in a white cube of a studio in RADA, where you're almost doing Lecoq kind of techniques and having to imagine that it's raining and you're putting up an umbrella.
I thought it would be full of Oliviers and Gielguds and kind of these very technically accomplished English actors. And actually the wonderful thing about it at that time, when the grant system was still around, was that it was full of a wide range of working class people who'd done very little theatre but had come and had a real gift at the audition.
I was slightly disappointed because I thought it was going to be full of sort of offspring of very famous actors and lords and ladies, and I sort of got them and went, what, there's 5 of the Northerners? I thought it was going to be like some sort of, novelty student, and I was a little bit disappointed when I sort of went, what? There's loads of them from the north. So I was slightly disappointed about that. I thought I'd be going having, Christmas parties up in somebody's castle in the Highlands, or meeting Lord and Lady Suchbody, and actually everybody was from all walks of life,
And then we had people who'd been to university and done lots of reading of books, and sort of who were a bit older, a bit more life experience, and then people who'd just left school, and tenors and baritones, and people who were beautiful singers and terrible at improvising, and people who were brilliant at Shakespeare and appalling at stage fighting, or whatever it was. It was this mixture of talent that felt like it was 3 years of swapping. Okay, so I'm terrible at this and you're really good at it, so how do you do that? And in a way, that's the strongest bond, is that you're so connected to these people and you're in the trenches with them for 3 years, and it's a kind of, you're all in the chicken soup together, and you start to lose track of which ingredients have come from what, but you're all sharing, and that's an amazing way to learn, I think.
What I'm most impressed about RADA is the sort of work for the graduates then, and the support then. We had lots of classes that still came back to once you'd left. You don't feel abandoned, and even coming back to work on reception or work in the library, you just felt you're part of a family, and it wasn't right, well, you've left now and thank you. You still feel the tentacles of RADA go out for years, so.
Please help RADA's training by giving to us during the Big Give Christmas Challenge. Between December the 6th and the 8th, you can significantly increase the value of your gift through a matched funding scheme operated by RADA's charity champion, ICAP. At a time of great change in the landscape of funding in higher education, RADA really needs your help to ensure that we can maintain levels of excellence in the training of actors, directors, designers and stage management. So visit our website at rada.ac.uk or feel free to get in touch with our development team. Thank you.